Hello, everyone. We are continuing our College and Career 101 webinar series. And my name is Miss Dahl. I'm the school counseling intern this year at South. And today we're going to be talking about resume resources. So this presentation is going to be helpful for all of you seniors. So whether you're deciding to go straight into the workforce post-graduation, or if you're currently in the college application process, or even maybe starting to apply for some scholarships. Writing a resume and following these tips and tricks is definitely going to be helpful for you. Let's get started. So when approaching writing your resume, maybe for the first time, it can be pretty overwhelming and even intimidating. Some questions that might come to mind might be, where do I even begin? Where do I start? What is important for me to even include on a resume? And then once you've started kind of putting some pieces together, what might be missing? I created this template based on the recommendations from cfnc.org. So if you're wanting some further information after this presentation, definitely go check out that resource. Also, if you have further questions, reach out to your school counselor or your college advisor to gain some extra support when it comes to writing your resume and perfecting it. So looking at this template, you really want to make sure that everything is strong and concise and make sure that it's very clear. You really want to make sure you are showcasing your strengths and really what sets you apart as a candidate. So it's really important to kind of start your resume with your name and contact information right up at the top. So it's the first thing that employers or recruiters see. Following that, it might be really helpful to include a summary. So this kind of showcases in a few sentences, what are your strengths and what kind of sets you apart? Again, this can be really helpful because, fun fact, experts say that on average, recruiters typically only spend about 10 seconds when they are reading someone's resume. So that kind of feels a little intimidating. However, what that does indicate is that we need to make sure we are being very clear and concise and quickly articulating what sets us apart. Following that, there's some flexibility. So some folks prefer to format their resume chronologically. So maybe their present experience is at the top and then it goes into, previous experiences or, what might be most relevant. So maybe you showcase what you think is most relevant to whatever you're applying for up at the top and then format it down from there. So you have some flexibility there. We're going to get into some tips and tricks and do's and don'ts. So some resume do's. Again, you want to start with the basics from the get-go. So you want to include your name, email, phone number at the top of your resume. So this way, employers or admissions offices know how to reach you. Maybe they have some clarifying questions, or maybe an employer even wants to offer you a position. You want to make sure that they have a way to get in touch with you. So next is going to be your education, because this is most likely the most relevant experience that you've had up until this point. So you want to include the name of your high school, so South Caldwell High School, and your graduation date. Following this, it's really appropriate here to list your GPA, maybe your class rank, anything that sets you apart and shows your dedication as a student. This is also an appropriate place to include any college courses. I know a lot of students here have taken courses at CCC and TI, so this might be an appropriate place to include this. Taking college courses while still in high school really demonstrates that you have a commitment to furthering your knowledge and skill sets. This is definitely something you want to showcase on your resume. Next might be work experience. So if you've had a part-time job, you want to list any and all that you've had up until this point. So you want to include your job title, the name of the business where you worked, roughly the number of hours you worked per week, and any relevant skill sets that you used while working. So going back to our example, this student on this template worked at Food Lion. So within their description, they stated that they, had to process monetary transactions. They served as a customer service representative. So they had to use some great communication skills. They also, had to show some organizational skill sets because they had to, keep record of inventory and stock things and organize their workstation. So you really want to showcase, what skills can I learn in this job that might be transferable to other positions in the future. Other resume dues. So now you want to, get into some of your extracurricular activities. So this is where you include things like sports or school clubs, marching band, church youth group, you name it. You really want to highlight any leadership roles that maybe you were able to have within these settings. So maybe you were the captain or the president or a youth group leader. This is really relevant to share here. The main point of extracurricular of this section is really to showcase how well-rounded you are. So next, going into volunteer or service experience, you want to, again, include the name of the volunteer organization, the hours that you dedicated per week or per month, and briefly describe your responsibilities. Again, you want to make sure that you're describing so that the layperson who might not know exactly what this organization does can quickly see what skill sets were you utilizing in this setting. So next, you can showcase any awards and achievements. So this is where you kind of showcase how your talents and efforts have been recognized. So whether you were maybe the MVP of your sports team or employee of the month at your job, or maybe you were, made honors band, you really want to showcase how your efforts have been recognized. This also might be an appropriate place to include some certifications. So say you were able to receive a certificate from CCC and PI, this would be an appropriate place to include this. That could also go under your educational experiences. So lastly, you can include some skill sets. So these would be relevant skills that maybe haven't been included thus far on your resume. So for example, graphic design, maybe you took some Adobe courses while here at South, photography, computer coding, or maybe you want to showcase that you are an effective communicator and have interpersonal skills. This is all relevant things that might help showcase your strengths and really set you apart as a candidate. Now we're going into some resume don'ts. So we definitely want to avoid at all costs misspellings and grammatical errors. We really want this resume to be you putting your best foot forward. So this is where it's really important to have some trusted people review your resume to check for errors. So maybe that's a parent or your school counselor, college advisor, teachers, other mentors, just making sure that someone's reviewing this, that you are really making sure that you're putting, again, your best foot forward. You want to avoid long paragraphs. This is not the place. Maybe save the long paragraphs for your college essays. You want these, each section on your resume to be concise and to the point. Again, this is where that fun fact about experts saying that individuals typically only spend about 10 seconds kind of glancing at a resume. You want to make sure that you're really getting straight to the point and showcasing your best self. So consider maybe using bullet points and short phrases. Additionally, resumes are typically one page. So you really want it to be short and to the point and no more than 2 pages. Also with this, you want to save the kind of fluff or flowery language for your college essays. So employers or recruiters are looking at your resume to see what you've excelled in and see your dedication and commitment and how you've been able to take on responsibilities and succeed. So excessive use of adjectives or wordy sentences might be distracting, and they also might take up space. And you definitely want to make sure that you're getting all that really relevant information on there. Another tip would be to try to use some strong action words. So really trying to demonstrate your skills concisely and clearly. Resume don'ts, again, don't overstate your expertise or include dishonest information. We really want to be, representing our true, authentic self. So we really want to tell the truth. So you never know whether a potential employer or a college admissions advisor might call one of your references to just kind of confirm the information that you provided. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So definitely provide honest and consistent information. For example, if you volunteered 5 hours a month, you don't want to say that you volunteered 15 hours per month. Or let's say you took Spanish and only one semester. You really can't claim that you might be fluent in that language. So it's best to tell the truth. You also lastly want to choose your resume format carefully. We don't want it to be really distracting or cluttered. It really needs to be easily readable. So the format of your resume should be organized and divided into subsections that make it easy for them to read. You don't want your resume to have distracting graphics or images. However, you can kind of showcase a little bit of your personality. So maybe you have some freedom in, choosing a specific font or the way that it's formatted and organized. That is really up to you. When you're thinking about how to format your resume, fortunately, there are tons of templates online. So you don't have to feel like you have to create it from scratch. You can really just kind of use these templates to pop in your information, and they're already readily available for you. So for instance, the template that I use, I got it from Canva, but there's also templates on Microsoft Word, Google Docs, you name it, it's out there. So definitely use those tools online. Some final things I want you to remember. So you really want this to showcase your strengths and skill sets. What sets me apart from other candidates? You want to make sure that it's error-free. So reach out to your school counselor, teachers, advisors, making sure that you are putting your best foot forward. You want to make sure that it's clear and concise. So don't make it too distracting or overly wordy, and use strong action words. And you want to make sure that it best represents you, and captures all the skill sets and all of the experiences that you bring to the table. And also remember that you've got this. You've made it to this point. You've learned so many things along the way and had so many different experiences. So you've got this. If you're needing some extra support and you're kind of stuck thinking, I don't really know what to say about myself. What am I good at? What are my strengths? We're going to have another webinar video talking about matching your personality to interests and working options. Also, you can reach out to your college advisor, your school counselor, or maybe even some teachers or trusted adults to kind of work on this together. You're not alone. There's tons of support out there for you. If you have any questions, again, you can reach out to your school counselor. Thank you so much for watching.